What's good, Roughnecks fans, and welcome back to the Rough 'em Up podcast. I'm your host, Cullen Watkins, and here with me is the man himself, A-Train, Arlington Lane. A-Train, how are you doing today?
I gotta say, man, it's a better day than it was this past weekend. I will say this: the Roughnecks, they did a lot better than they did in the previous weeks. So, and I got to give credit to where credit is due. So, it's a good day today, despite the fact of what happened this past weekend.
We lost to the best team in the UFL, 28-35. Not bad at all. And if y'all watched the game, I think y'all would agree with us. The offense, besides the Arlington game, probably looked the best it really did all year. Mark Thompson, 2-touchdown game. This is what we were waiting for. Nolan Henderson, a little spark in the offense. I mean, it wasn't too bad. What are your highlights about the offense, Arlington? What do you want to highlight?
Well, you gotta highlight, of course, Mark Thompson's 2 touchdowns, especially one on a 37-yard run, and the fact that he had 11 carries and 54 yards. You know, that's pretty good numbers for a guy that's, in this case, as we get into, this is his 4th game, 4th or 5th game playing again, really getting back into this offense. You know, that's something it's a good sign. You know, this team has competed. I know there have been times where it looks like, oh, why is this team even on the field? But they were against the best team, as you stated, and they played their hearts out. Granted, they played from behind the entire game, and but they still competed. They still tried to at least get the tie or at least get a dub in the final quarter, but still it kind of fell short in the end.
And the defense wasn't too bad. It's just so tough when you're facing Adrian Martinez. Again, the man who will take home the UFL MVP, Adrian Martinez. He will. So it wasn't too bad. Now, I do want to talk about Nolan Henderson, though, because this is a guy who's been technically 3rd string the whole year. He's young, out of Delaware, fresh out of Delaware, and he played good. What was the difference that you noticed between having either Reed Sennett or Jarrett Guarantano in compared to having a more mobile threat like Nolan Henderson? What did you notice about the offense?
Things were clicking, and Johnson and Price had to depend on a guy that was what quarterback play had as of late hadn't been the best. Don't get me wrong. There was nothing wrong with the fact of Reed Sennett himself being 6 of 13 for 99 yards, but he also had a touchdown. You know, that's always a sign to go along with interception. But having something fresh out of Nolan, because you want to see what he can really do in a professional type of setting, gave him some film work of sorts. You know, him going 9 of 14 for 99 yards, being able to make plays when needed, made the right decisions, and it looked like he knew what it was supposed to do when he entered into the ball game. You know, it wasn't him looking lost. So, you know, it'd been 8 weeks in the year. So, you know, you kind of got an outset of what to look forward to once your name is called. And when he got into the game, he kind of knew what to do and direct the offense. And that was a really good sign for the Roughnecks.
Because I believe he got a rushing touchdown or a rushing 2-point conversion. I forget which one. But I really enjoyed watching him with the legs. And if y'all go back and watch I believe either I did a quarterback video or just a roster overview video. And when I saw Nolan Henderson, he has a PJ Walker type build. He's on the shorter side, but he has an arm that can sling it and he can run. So I've been a big fan of Nolan Henderson. But like you said, Arlington, I mean, Reed sent it. It's tough to want to get rid of Reed in a game because he never does bad. And shout out to Reed. I met him a few weeks ago. Nicest guy ever. And two, he recently surpassed the 1,000 passing yards mark. So shout out to Reed. I'm glad he's coming back after injuring his foot last season. But I think having Nolan Henderson now like this, well, first of all, Arlington, we don't know. Do you start him next game against Michigan?
Um, I would try it because I want to see how well he can shake up Michigan. Granted, we all know um, the playoffs are set just in the XFL conference. You just don't know where they're going to play, who's going to be the home team or not. We won't find out to the end of the season, but still, in the USFL conferences, which is what the Roughnecks are in, playoffs are set. So it's going to be interesting what Michigan does.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan really has. Do they really have something to play for? Are they going to, at this rate, you got to play in your best guys. Nolan Henderson has been great. You're going to play Mark Thompson. I'd say Reed Center would be a viable backup for Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to see how he is with the one team out there to start. And what more else do you have to lose? What more
Mm-hmm.
else do you have to lose except dignity or at this rate, right? So at this point, go ahead and throw him out there. See what he can do. He might give a spark and could be something down the line in the future.
Mm-hmm. I like that because that's what I was going to mention next. The future. If the Roughnecks come back next season, which I hope they do, whatever. That's not what this podcast is about. And Nolan Henderson, he's young. Is an NFL team really going to be dying to pick him up? Probably not, right? He just doesn't have enough film yet for that to happen. I feel like he's going to be it's going to be a great opportunity to see what he would do for next season for this team. And Arlington, I was thinking about this. This is a oddly similar situation to the Las Vegas Vipers and Jalen McClendon last season. They went back and forth between quarterbacks, had quarterback issues for the majority of the season, and as we know, the Vipers sucked. Same thing with us. But at the end of the season, when you just start trying stuff, you find a hidden young gem. That was Jalen McClendon with the Vipers last season. This season, could it be Nolan Henderson? So I'm curious to see what that is about because this could set up Nolan Henderson for next season wherever he ends up. So I'm glad we talked about the quarterback situation. Now, Arlington, I know you wanted to talk about our coaching situation. So there's been a lot. If you've been living under a rock, folks, watching this, there's been a lot of hate towards CJ Johnson and the coaching staff, petitions being filed to have them all fired, all of this, all of that. Arlington, what are your thoughts?
My thing is this. I get it. CJ Johnson has not done a great job or has done the best as he could with this Houston Roughnecks team, and they just haven't gotten wins out of. They've competed in a lot of games, but the vitriol and the hatred that he's received, some of that energy can also go to John DeFilippo and of Memphis Showboats, and also Bob Stoops of the Arlington Renegades. Like, if you want to throw some more shade, hey, Reggie Barlow should get some of that as well. None of that has been thrown toward him because it's all about CJ Johnson. And from a standpoint, his defense has been able to stay in games throughout the season. The issue was the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Offense had been a huge problem all season long. Granted, Guantamo had been out. Reed Sinnett had took up the slack. Reed Sinnett will regress a little bit. You bring in a guy like Nolan Henderson. Some of the decision making hasn't been the best, but that can be said for what has gone on in the other UFL cities that aren't doing so hot. All I'm saying today, folks, is give that same energy that you've been giving, because you have to understand Houston Roughnecks are not owned by anybody in the city of Houston. Let's get something straight here. This is about spring football, one entity, 8 teams, one ownership, one big ownership, right? So I understand that was the case with the Viper situation in Vegas, but with that being said, it was about CJ was working his butt off. And granted, this was a gambler's team moved to the Roughnecks. Sometimes sacrifices is going to have to be made here. Right. I just want the same energy given to these other coaches. Like, why is CJ getting all of this flack?
Mm-hmm.
And I, for one, have said on a different show, I've said that, hey, CJ might need to be let go. He might need to, but so does Stoops, so does DeFilippo, and so and if you want to give some more energy, Barlow deserves to get it too. That's my thing. No, it's not just one person. There's other people that is not safe either. That's my thing, is that let's give some more energy to these other coaches as well, saying, hey, I understand you're a fan and you got every right to scream or about how you want your team to look in the season, but you're not making that decision. And these petitions, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is spring football, y'all. This ain't the NFL. You wouldn't even sign a petition for a coach to be fired, because guess what? The NFL is already doing. These executives are already eyeballing everything that they see. So they're
Mm-hmm.
already a step ahead of you. You're making petitions in a spring football league for somebody to be fired. That's insanity. That's ridiculous. It's downright insane. That's like, come on, man. Why would you even do such a thing? Y'all taking this a little too serious. Just a little. It's not that serious, man. It's not.
And
So
I
I
mean,
just wanted that's my soapbox on that.
you bring up a lot of great points, and just for me to insert myself into this as well. If you think about it, when you compare Bob Stoops, John DeFilippo, and C.J. Johnson, yes, I have said my stuff about C.J. Johnson and this coaching staff, and I don't regret it because I
Me
mean,
neither. I don't.
yeah, right.
I
We
don't
yeah,
regret it.
we both have and whatever, but we're also not afraid to say the same thing about DeFilippo and Bob Stoops. Out of all things, DeFilippo and Stoops had bigger expectations than CJ Johnson did. Bob Stoops, you're coming off from winning the XFL championship. Now you find yourself with one win.
Mm-hmm.
That's embarrassing, Bob. That's embarrassing. And then DeFilippo, that Memphis Showboats team was stacked. Stack, Jonathan Adams, Case Cookus, Darius Victor. Those three players alone, the Roughnecks didn't have that type of star power. But guess what? Yeah, Memphis has a bigger losing streak than the Roughnecks do. So I totally agree with you. Those two coaches, they have to do better. They deserve all the criticism. Now, sort of segueing into the next game that the Roughnecks have. Shout out to Mike Nolan with the Michigan Panthers. I mean, he shut me up. At the beginning of the season, I said I'm not a Mike Nolan fan at all. Hey, great job. That Michigan team, I hate to say it, but I'm looking forward to that USFL conference championship game. They lost Wes Hills, but they still have Colburn, who is tearing it up. They're getting Danny Etling back, but we're going to have to face them first before they play the Stallions. Uh, I mean, anything you want to say about the Michigan Panthers and Roughnecks game, or?
The Panthers are peaking at the right time, and I know it's going to be tough for the Roughnecks at this case. I get it. They're in the Panthers are in the playoffs right now, but they still have to compete,
Mm-hmm.
to you never, because you never know what might happen. You get a win and let's say Birmingham does get their first loss against San Antonio. That makes it a little bit more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of the day, though, I think the matchup between Birmingham and Michigan, I think Birmingham still is going to get the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
But so you're still playing to win, right? But do you rest your starters? That's going to be the thing here for the Panthers, because you want them ready for the championship game in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see, because I'm like, right now, Houston has nothing really to play for. So you might as well just go ahead and go all in, as another host says on his show, on Around the UFL and the UFL podcast. Uh, go all in now. What do you have to lose now with the Roughnecks?
Mm-hmm.
Mark Thompson playing, throw in Nolan Henderson. You saw the progress out of it. You saw the Kiki Chisholm, the game that he had. Justin Hall, with the game that he had this past week. They both accounted for 11 catches and 153 yards. So put everything in. The defense is the defense. That's how I'm looking at it now. The defense is the defense. They taking what's given to them. So that means if the offense is not doing their job, the defense is going to have to do more of the work. And a lot of times, like with defenses, they get tired pretty quick. If you're not giving them the adequate amount of rest, they're going to have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So Michigan's offense right now is pretty set. And it's still a scary team that you have to deal with. And they're going on the road. They're going up to uh Michigan. No, I'm sorry. Did I
Houston.
get that right? They are going to there's a home game, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So they are playing at home. Um at this rate, man, play up to the crowd, and Houston still come out and cheer for your Roughnecks.
Mm-hmm.
Because they do need you. They
Yeah.
need you out there. And they feed off of you. No matter how big or small the crowds are, they feed off of your fandom. And who knows, that could give them a big win, and it'll shock the UFL community,
Mm-hmm.
and you need that. So it's all again, it's about playing mistake-free football, and they, for the most part, they did. The one interception happened. Um, it's about maintaining, and then the clock. It's about game management.
Mm-hmm.
So making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do with the clock. You can upset them. They can upset the Michigan Panthers. I don't know if I'm going to pick them this week, but they still can do it. I'd rather be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, but stop making me right here. I don't want to be right for once. I want to be wrong in this case. I never thought I would say that on a show like this, but I want to be wrong. Houston, get it done. Get it done.
And if we can't beat the Stallions, the next best thing is really beating the Panthers. And on paper, this matchup, and we can even start with our predictions based on this. So, Arlington, you're saying you pick the
I'm
Panthers.
picking the Panthers. Yeah. I wish I could get my hat. I can't get my hat right now.
Well, I'm going to start off the predictions this week, which, by the way, I'm 20-12, and Arlington, you are 18 and
Oh God,
14. So this is
at least
still close.
still close. Yeah.
I will be picking the Houston Roughnecks for this game, and let me tell you why.
All right. All right.
I'm a firm believer that we lost to the Michigan Panthers when we first played them because of EJ Perry. EJ Perry's legs is what got us. We don't have EJ Perry anymore. And Michigan has three different quarterbacks they can pick. It's either going to be let's pull it up here.
Danny
Bryce Perkins,
Etling, Bryce
yep,
Perkins.
and Lewerke. Whatever. None of those guys scare me too much. I feel like EJ Perry would hurt us a lot more with his legs, but whatever. The
Mm-hmm.
big X factor is them losing Wes Hills. And yes, they have Matthew Colburn. But if you look at the Roughneck stats against the run this season, we
Mm-hmm.
have fared pretty well against running backs, even against Birmingham. I mean, we were able to stop their running backs pretty well. And Add that with Nolan Henderson potentially starting, Mark Thompson starting to get hot. You're at home. I'm picking the upset this week. Could I be wrong? Probably, but I'm gonna pick the Houston Roughnecks this week and just see what happens with that. I'm picking the Houston Roughnecks
Mm-hmm.
between the Panthers injuries, and I think the Roughnecks offense is looking a little bit better. I'm picking the upset with that. So,
Okay.
but you're picking Michigan.
Good one. Good one. Good one. Good pick to
Okay,
choose.
I know, a little different today.
It is a little different, man. I know I did that, and it hurt me. So, okay, so you choose that one, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's the last game of the weekend. And hey,
Mhm.
folks, man, hey, listen, we need to get these ratings up for. We need to get these ratings up, man. We were the lowest of the week
I
this
know.
past week.
I know.
It's like, just over a quarter million. Oh God.
We got
Okay.
2 more weeks, folks. Two
Well, it was
more
like
weeks to get
245
these
or something.
things
So it was
up.
like close to a quarter million. All right. The next game we got, we want to go to the top down now since we had did the last game.
Sure.
All right. So the Battlehawks and the Renegades in Arlington is Saturday's game.
Mm,
Um, don't know the status yet of AJ McCarron. Manny Wilkins was able to do good enough to get them a win against DC. Um, they knocked out Teamu, which was kind of crazy. So the defense has been playing more up to snuff that they have been before.
hmm
And the Renegades is going to want revenge on what happened to them the first week when I think they won by only 3 points. The Battlehawks did. And so I am going to go. I'm gonna go Battlehawks. I'm
Okay.
gonna go Battlehawks. I think they're gonna remain. They're gonna get a win this week, no matter who's the quarterback, whether it's Wilkins or McCarron returns. But I think Wilkins is probably gonna get another chance at it because he looks good. He looks pretty good.
He
I'm not
did.
gonna sit there and act like he didn't.
And he didn't have a lot of weapons. Hopefully, Aitman and Pearson come back so he has more weapons. I agree with you. I think Battlehawks, they're in their element right now. And regardless of if it's McCarron or Wilkins, hell, even if Brandon Silvers is playing, I just think the Battlehawks, even the Battlehawks defense, with how the Renegades have been playing, um, I'm picking Battlehawks too. I might try to go to that game this weekend since it's in Arlington and see how that goes. But
Oh,
I
yeah,
agree,
7.
Battlehawks.
Yeah. I think Set was at 79 yards, most yards by a quarterback for Battlehawks this season. So yeah, we'll see what happens. 3 touchdowns on the ground for them. So
Yeah, they
they
get the
had a
job
running
done.
game. They had the ground game down pat. So all right, we got we got next, sir.
Game of the week: Stallions versus Brahmas. Who do you got?
I want the Brahmas so bad,
Do it. Come on.
but my problem is I don't think Birmingham losing to San Antonio.
Well, hey,
I
Chase
don't think.
Garbers might be coming back.
Uh-huh. I it doesn't matter who the quarterback is because who's stopping Adrian
No
Martinez?
one. No one.
That's the problem. Who's stopping AM number
But if
9?
there's a guy to do it, it'll be Wade Phillips. I'm just trying to
Yeah,
sell you on this, Arlington. I'm
I
picking the
know.
Stallions. I
Because
mean,
here's the thing. Because my thing is, look, a loss to them and a win for the Battlehawks give them a 1-game lead going into the final game, and
mhm,
that means even if San Antonio were to win in Week 10, the Battlehawks still get the home game. So
mhm,
they would have to win by points at this point or division record. So
mhm.
yeah. So it'd be interesting to see what plays out with that. So even if it goes into a tie at the end, I want to see the Brahmas. You know what? I switch my pick. Brahmas are gonna pull it out. They gonna do it. They gonna do it. They gonna get the one loss. They gonna get it. I know I'm feeling stupid. I feel crazy for it, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm gonna pull it. I'm gonna pull it.
It's a good
Yeah, let's
pick,
go.
Arlington. If there's a
I'm
team to
going for
do
it.
it, it'll be the Brahmas.
It's gonna be the Brahmas, man. The Brahmas are gonna do it. I know I'm crazy for that. Okay, but all right.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm liking that we have different picks this week. This could be huge in our records against each other. And then finally, ooh, I
Oh
look at this.
God.
I look at this game on the schedule and, eh. Defenders versus Showboats.
Oh man.
I'm picking DC because I'm not picking the Showboats. That's the only reason.
Um, if Jalen McClendon is a starter for DC, I'm going DC. I get it, Teamo. I think Teamo got knocked out in there. Haven't heard the report yet on his status for Sunday's game. So, but since we recording today, Jalen, I think Jalen's going to be the guy. And if Jalen is the guy, DC over Memphis, because Memphis, they all sorts of messed up.
They don't know what's going on. So you're picking Defenders?
Defenders it is, man. I can't believe I picked the Brahmas over freaking Stallions. I cannot believe I just did that, but okay. All right.
That's going to be game of the week. So, folks, I mean, tune into these games, even though playoffs are already set. I mean, there are some really good games. That San Antonio-Birmingham game, woo! Come on now. Come on now. That's going to be awesome. Potential championship matchup. So
wait. As we looking at is this week on we got like 3 minutes left? Okay. I'm looking at the standings right now. As we sit, of course the Stallions and the Panthers. So it wouldn't matter if it wouldn't matter about the Stallions, so they'll get the home game for the conference championship. But the Battlehawks and the Brahmas, right now, as we're sitting, they're both 6-2. Even if the Battlehawks lose to this weekend, they still got the conference record better. So it would go to the final day if the Brahmas would have to beat them to see if they can potentially snatch. And I think points is going to be a big factor in it. If they can snatch away the potential home game for the Battlehawks and they get it in the Alamo Dome. So it's still some intriguing opportunity for the Brahmas to get the home game.
St. Louis needs McCarron. San Antonio needs Garbers if they want any chance of making it to the championship. With Garbers back, San Antonio actually has a legit chance. I wasn't thinking that. I love Quentin Dormady, but I just think he wasn't going to get it done against St. Louis. Garbers can get it done against St. Louis. So, folks,
but win or lose.
This should be some exciting football.
St. Louis, we got something. St. Louis, if they win this weekend, they get the home game outright. So it won't matter if San Antonio wins or not. If they just got to beat Arlington. They beat Arlington, they get it outright.
Which should be so doable. Oh, man, it should be so doable. But, folks, thank you so much for watching this edition of the Rough 'Em Up podcast. We have, 2 more episodes left of this. So, hey, we appreciate y'all for coming along for the ride. Arlington, any last words?
Oh, man, thanks for tuning in, and make sure you continue to do so. We got big things going on at F.U.E.L Sports Network.
Yes, we all do.
And big ups to Pro Football Newsroom as well. So thank you so much.
Folks, we'll see you next time. And remember, go Roughnecks, baby.